Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hello,
I'm Oliver.
and I'm Lily.
You are listening to Science in Easy English.
And our topic today is, well, simple. What lives at the bottom of the ocean?
I have to say, looking at this stack of research we have for today, I feel a bit like we've been looking in the wrong direction for a long time. We spend billions looking for aliens on Mars or, listening for signals from distant stars. But it turns out there is a legitimate alien civilization right here.
Right here on Earth.
It's dark, it's high pressure, and frankly, it is full of monsters.
It is the very definition of an alien world. And what's crazy is how little of it we actually know. I mean, the ocean covers 71% of Earth.
Right.
But for most of human history, that map was just, blue ink. We knew more about the craters on the moon than the trenches in the Pacific.
But the mission of today's deep dive is to show how fast it's changing, right? Because looking at the dates on these reports, we're talking about stuff that happened practically yesterday.
Exactly. We are currently in February 2026, and if you just look back at the last 12 months, throughout 2025 and the start of this year, it has been a golden age for marine biology.
A real technological leap.
It is. We're finally getting to peek behind the curtain.
Okay, so we have reports here from the Ocean Census, from the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, MBARI, and some really dense studies from Nature and Cell. It's a lot of data.
It is.
So where do we start?
Let's start with the headline number. It's staggering. The Ocean Census and their partners recently announced that in just over a year, they've discovered 866 new marine species.
Okay, let's just pause on that for a second. 866.
It's a huge number.
That isn't like, oh, we found a new type of bacteria.
Yeah.
This is almost 3 new animals every single day.
And the variety is what's really shocking. We aren't just finding these microscopic specks. We are finding, predators, scavengers, and things that, frankly, just defy our understanding of biology.
Okay, I want to get into the specific monsters because the descriptions in these reports are just wild.
We are.
I was reading about the death ball sponge in the Southern Ocean. Now, when I think of a sponge, I think of, a loofah, something passive that just sits on a rock.
Right. Most sponges are filter feeders. They're kind of the pacifists of the ocean. They sit there, water flows through them, they catch tiny particles. But the death ball sponge chondrocladia is a killer.
It's a carnivore.
It is. It's a spherical body, basically a ball, but it's covered in microscopic hooks. So it doesn't wait for particles. It actually traps small crustaceans.
So it's like living Velcro.
That is a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A shrimp just bumps into it, gets snagged on the hooks, and then the sponge just slowly absorbs and digests it.
A nightmare if you're a small crustacean.
Absolutely.
Speaking of nightmares, I think my favorite, or maybe my least favorite discovery from the 2025 haul is the Darth Vader isopod.
Ah, the Thenomys vaderi.
First off, scientists are clearly having way too much fun with these knobs.
They are.
But looking at the photo, it fits.
It really does. This was found off the coast of Vietnam. So to visualize this, you know what a woodlouse or a pillbug looks like. The little gray bugs in your garden.
Sure, they're tiny, size of a fingernail.
Okay, now imagine one of those. But it is over 12 inches long.
That is a foot-long bug.
A foot-long armored tank. It's a giant crustacean, and it has this massive helmet-like head structure that gives it that Darth Vader look.
But why do they get that big? Is that a deep ocean thing?
It is. It's often called deep-sea gigantism. There are a few theories, but it mostly, comes down to efficiency. Being bigger makes you more efficient at moving long distances to find food in a place where food is very, very scarce.
So it's a giant armored vacuum cleaner.
Essentially, yes. Just roaming the seafloor looking for dead things to eat.
But the creature that really messed with my head was the mystery mollusk. This was the big find from MBRI, wasn't it?
The Bathydevius caudactylus. Yeah, this one is significant because it broke the rules. It's a nudibranch, a sea slug.
Right, hence the word slug, they crawl.
Exactly. Usually sea slugs are benthic, they crawl on the bottom. But this one was found in the midnight zone, way up in the open water. It swims.
It swims.
It swims. It has a large gelatinous hood, almost like a Venus flytrap, that it uses to just snatch prey right out of the water column.
And looking at the video footage, it glows.
It does. It has a paddle-like tail that lights up with bioluminescence. I mean, when the researchers first saw it, they were just stumped.
They had no idea what it was.
None. It didn't look like a fish. It didn't look like a squid. It didn't fit into any existing biological family. They had to create a whole new family, the Bathydevidae, just for this one animal.
That's amazing. that in 2026, we're still finding animals that require us to rewrite the textbooks.
And we can't skip the Elvis worm.
Please tell me it has a pompadour.
Not exactly, but it has the outfit. It was found in Antarctica. It's a scale worm, but its scales are iridescent. They just sparkle like the sequins on an Elvis jumpsuit.
Of course they do. And the Chewbacca coral.
Iridogorgia chewbacca. It's a deep-sea coral with incredibly dense, hairy branches. Again, the scientists are just nerds at heart.
I love it. But I think to really understand these creatures, why a sponge becomes a killer or why a slug starts swimming, we need to understand where they live.
The environment, yeah.
We keep throwing around terms like midnight zone. So can you walk us through the descent? If we were in a submarine, dropping down, what would we see?
Okay, let's do the dive. So we start at the surface. From 0 down to about 200 meters, you're in the epipelagic zone, the sunlight zone.
This is the ocean we all know.
Right. This is where photosynthesis happens, where the phytoplankton are, where most fishing happens. It's bright, it's warm, but once we pass 200 meters, the light starts to fade. Fast. We enter the mesopelagic, the twilight zone.
Down to 1,000 meters.
Roughly, yes. And it's this dusky, dim world. Not enough light for plants, but just enough for animals to see each other. And this is where the evolutionary arms race gets really interesting.
Yes.
Well, interestingly, 90% of the world's fish by weight live right here in this zone. It is packed with life. But because it's so dim, animals use light as a weapon or a shield. We see huge amounts of bioluminescence.
Yeah, I read about the invisibility cloak down here.
Yeah.
How does being red make you invisible?
It's just physics. Water absorbs different colors of light at different depths. Red light waves are really low energy, so they get absorbed very quickly near the surface.
Okay.
So down in the twilight zone, there is no red light left to reflect. If an animal is red, it literally looks pitch black. It just vanishes.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's not just about hiding. There are things hunting down here. We get to talk about the cookie-cutter shark.
Oh, that is a nasty little creature.
It's not very big, is it?
No, it's small,
Yeah.
but it punches way above its weight. It has this glow-in-the-dark belly that mimics the faint light from the surface. It lures in big predators, tuna, dolphins, even whales.
Who think they're about to eat a small snack.
And then the snack bites back. The shark spins around, latches on with these suction lips, and uses its saw-like teeth to scoop out a perfect circular chunk of flesh.
Like a melon baller.
Yeah.
That is horrifying. I heard they even damage submarines.
They have. They're attracted to the electrical fields or the rubber sonar domes. They don't care if you're a whale or a nuclear sub. They will take a bite.
Okay, so we keep dropping. We pass 1,000 meters.
Now we hit the bathypelagic, the midnight zone. The sunlight is gone completely. It is pitch black. The temperature drops to about 4 degrees Celsius.
The inside of your refrigerator.
Exactly. And below that, you have the abyss. And then the trenches, the hadal zone, which go down past 6,000 meters.
Now, this brings us to one of the most fascinating insights from the source material. We find life everywhere. We find sea cucumbers, anemones, worms at the very, very bottom, 11,000 meters down.
We do.
But we don't find fish.
This is a genuine physiological puzzle. It's called the fish limit.
So there's a hard line where fish just...
There seems to be. They just vanish below roughly 8,200 to 8,400 meters, no matter how deep the trench is.
Why? I always assumed it was just the pressure crushing their bones or something.
It's not their bones. It's chemistry. It's all about their proteins. You see, intense pressure, it tends to warp proteins. It forces water molecules into their structure and just distorts them.
So your basic biology stops working.
It grinds to a halt. Imagine trying to build a Lego castle while someone is standing on the bricks. The pieces just won't click together.
I see.
So, to survive deep down, fish use a chemical called TMAO, trimethylamine N-oxide. Think of TMAO as a chemical chaperone. It supports the proteins, keeps them in shape against the pressure.
Okay, so the deeper you go, the more TMAO you need.
Exactly. It's a linear relationship. More depth, more pressure, so more TMAO. But here's the catch. TMAO is an osmolyte. It affects water balance.
Meaning?
Simply put, TMAO is salty.
Ah, I think I see where this is going.
As a fish goes deeper, its cells become saltier and saltier to hold all that TMAO. At around 8,200 meters, the concentration needed is so high that the fish's cells would become saltier than the ocean water itself.
And for anyone who doesn't remember high school biology, why is that bad?
Osmosis. Water wants to balance the salt. So if the fish is saltier than the ocean, water will rush into the fish's cells to try and dilute it.
So the fish would swell up and pop?
Well, it would suffer from hyperosmotic stress. Its cells would basically rupture or stop working. To go any deeper, a fish would have to completely reinvent how its kidneys and cells work. And evolution just hasn't solved that problem for fish yet.
That is fascinating. It's a salt barrier.
It is, and we have proof. The hadal snailfish, which lives at 7,000 meters, has the highest recorded TMAO levels of any fish. It is living right on the very edge of what is chemically possible.
But the sea cucumbers down at 11,000 meters, they're fine.
They're fine. They use different stabilizers, like silo-inositol, which doesn't cause that same osmosis problem. They're playing by a whole different set of chemical rules.
Okay, so we've covered the pressure, but what about the food? We are in the pitch black.
Yeah.
No sunlight, no plants.
Yeah.
If you're a sea cucumber at the bottom of the world, what are you eating?
Well, mostly you are eating marine snow.
Which sounds poetic, but it's actually pretty disgusting.
It is pretty gross. It's detritus, it's, poop, dead plankton, decaying bits of fish, dust, mucus, all of it drifting down from the surface waters. It's the leftovers from the party upstairs.
And that feeds the entire deep ecosystem.
A huge part of it, yeah. It's a slow, steady rain of energy. But sometimes you get a lottery win. You get a whale fall.
A dead whale sinking to the bottom.
Exactly. A single whale carcass can provide as much food as thousands of years of marine snow. It creates this pop-up ecosystem that can last for decades.
And this is where we find the zombie worms.
Yes. Ozydacs. These worms are bizarre. They do not have a mouth. They do not have a stomach.
So how do they eat a whale?
They secrete acid from their skin to bore right into the whale's bones. They're after the fat stored inside the bone marrow. They have these symbiotic bacteria inside them that digest the fats for them.
That is incredibly efficient. And wasn't there something weird about the males?
Oh, the males. The worms you actually see on the bone, the ones drilling, are all female. The males are these microscopic larvae that live inside the females.
Inside them.
Their only purpose is reproduction. They're basically just a living reproductive organ that lives inside the female.
Wow. Nature really doesn't care about our social norms.
Not at all. It just cares about survival.
Now, besides the dead stuff falling down, there is one other way to get energy. We have to talk about the vents. This is where life doesn't rely on the sun at all.
Chemosynthesis. Yeah, this discovery in the 1970s just changed how we define life. We found hydrothermal vents cracks in the seafloor spewing superheated water up to 400 degrees Celsius.
That should boil anything alive.
It should. And it's full of hydrogen sulfide, which is toxic to us. But down there, giant tube worms like Riftia use bacteria to turn that toxic chemical into sugar. It's an entire ecosystem powered by the Earth's internal heat.
And our notes say we need to distinguish these from cold seeps.
Right. Cold seeps are similar but different. This is where methane leaks out of the seafloor. As the name suggests, they aren't hot, same temperature as the water around them, but they're much more stable. A hot vent might turn off after a few decades.
But a cold seep can last for thousands of years.
Exactly. So the tube worms there grow very, very slowly and live for a very long time.
It's amazing to think about these slow-motion communities that have been running for millennia. But this brings us to the serious part of the deep dive. We're talking about all this discovery, 866 new species, but we're also talking about a world that is under threat.
That's the reality. We're in this race to find these things because we are also changing their world faster than we can even map it. And one of the biggest topics right now is deep sea mining.
Mining the bottom of the ocean for battery metals.
Specifically, polymetallic nodules. These potato-sized rocks sitting on the seafloor in the Clarion-Clipperton Zone in the Pacific. They're packed with nickel, cobalt, manganese, the stuff we need for electric vehicles.
And there was a major study published just this month, February 2026, in Nature. Yes, a comprehensive 5-year study. And the findings are, well, they're nuanced, which actually makes the debate even harder.
Okay, let's unpack that. What do they find?
Well, the bad news is clear. In the specific paths where they ran the mining machinery, animal abundance and diversity dropped by 1/3.
That's a significant hit.
It is. I mean, you're scraping the floor, so obviously the things living there are impacted.
But there was a surprise in the report.
The surprise was that the wider impact was described as smaller than expected compared to the worst-case fears scientists had. It wasn't a total wasteland in the surrounding areas. However, and this is a massive however.
No, but what we're breaking. We don't. The study emphasized that we are mining areas where we haven't even named the species yet. We are destroying habitats before we even know who lives there or how they connect to the wider ocean ecosystem.
And it's not just the direct mining. The climate data in our source stack is pretty sobering. There's this term, climate starvation.
It is a very serious concern. This comes from models updated in 2026. As the oceans warm, they become more stratified.
Stratified means layers, right? Like oil and vinegar.
Exactly. Warm water is lighter, so it floats on top. Cold water sinks. As the surface gets warmer, it forms this strong lid that stops mixing with the deep water.
Which means no nutrients come up, so no plankton grows. And if no plankton grows, there is no marine snow falling down.
Precisely. The food delivery service to the bottom of the ocean is getting cut off. Models suggest the food supply to the deep could drop by 55% by the year 2100.
55%, that's massive. Half the food gone.
And here's the kicker. At the same time, the deep ocean is warming. We're seeing projections of up to a 4°C increase in some of these deep zones.
So wait, if you warm up a cold-blooded animal, its metabolism speeds up.
Exactly. So think about that for a second. You are heating up the animals, which means they are burning energy faster and need more food. But at the exact same time, you are cutting their food supply in half.
It's a pincer movement.
It is.
That is a tough realization. We are finally discovering this alien world, just as we are turning up the heat and turning down the food.
It really highlights why this golden age of discovery is so urgent. We aren't just cataloging stamps. We are trying to understand an engine that keeps our entire planet running.
So what does this all mean for us? Why should you, listening in your car right now, care about a sponge in the Southern Ocean or a snailfish at 7,000 meters?
Because the deep ocean isn't disconnected from us. It cycles carbon. It absorbs heat. Those monsters are part of the biological pump that regulates the climate we live in. If that pump breaks, the consequences ripple all the way up to us.
And frankly, just the wonder of it, the fact that we share a planet with a 12-inch pill bug is pretty cool.
It is. And there is one last thought I want to leave you with.
What's that?
We talked about the mystery mollusk and the snailfish, but think about this. A snail venom was recently found that's being looked at for new kinds of pain medicine. Nature has spent millions of years refining these chemicals.
It's a library of solutions.
Right. So if we proceed with mining, and if we allow the deep ocean to starve, how many thousands of species and their biological secrets will we delete before we ever even know they existed?
That is a heavy question. We are deleting files from the hard drive without ever opening them to see what's inside.
Exactly. And once they're gone, there is no recycle bin.
Well, on that note, we have a lot of thinking to do. Thank you for listening to Science in Easy English.
Thanks for diving in.